Shavua Tov, a gute Woche, and welcome to our program. This Thursday was Chov Beis Shvat. Chov Beis Shvat is the outside of the Rebbetzin Harabonis Atzitkonis Hayamushka. And since this is B'yomim Asmuchim l'Shabbos Kedush, it's the days that are next to Shabbos. Not only that, this Shabbos is the Kinus HaShluchis in honor and in the memory of the Rebbetzin. This is why we are going to start our program with several stories about the Rebbetzin. Mentioned before, or last week, that we had the schus of being by the Rebbetzin several times with the family and so on. Every time that we were there, the Rebbetzin made a point to speak to each and every single child separately. She wanted every child to have the opportunity to talk to the Rebbetzin, and the Rebbetzin wanted the opportunity to speak to every child separately. And as she knew that the children know who she is, and if she's going to ask him a question, they may become nervous, they may become flustered. So what she would do, when she would ask them a question, she would lower her voice, and she would smile a lot. And she would look at the child. She was just waiting for the child to say one word. And after that, she started nodding her head. And she would ask simple questions, not to get the child confused, not to get the child flustered. But she wanted the child to have an opportunity, each one, to speak to her personally. When I would go towards Israel, I would call the Rebbetzin just to say, I'm leaving on this and this date, and she would say, Fort Gesundheit. And once when I called her, she says to me, Harav Lando wird ihr sein? Are you going to be by Rabbi Lando? And I did a quick calculation, of course. How can you go to Israel and not to go to see Rabbi Lando? It can't be any other way. I said immediately, yeah. So she said, the Rebbetzin said, As ihr wird sein, sollt ihr übergeben a Geris von uns. When you will be by Rabbi Lando, you should give over regards from us. Of course, I called him, and I said that I have regards for him from the Rebbetzin, and I want to come and see him. He says, yes, of course, when do you want to come? Give me a day, a time. I came to see him. Must tell you, he didn't know what to do with me. The Rebbetzin sent somebody to him to give him regards. So he kept telling stories about himself and about how he was by the Rebbe Nishma Seiden. And he said in Yiddish, beim Rebbe Nishma Seiden bin ich gewesen. The one who took care of the Rebbe Nishma Seiden was him. And then he saw that, that it's a Sefer Hashkafta the Rebbe, where it says that there was somebody else that was there. That was because he was not well at that time. Which is true. It's even mentioned in Hashkafta the Rebbe, that Rabbi Yankiv Lando was not well at that time. That's why somebody else did that. The one who did the Hashkafta the Rebbe. But by Rebbe Nishma Seiden bin ich gewesen. And since he was an elderly man, he said something like, Auf jene Welt habe ich gute Freund. In the world to come, I have good friends. And I was like a little bit shaken. What is he talking about? And he says, the Rebbe Nishma Seiden. And then he said something like, Ihr wisst, was mein Herrscher is the best Herrscher in Eretz Yisrael? Do you know why my Herrscher is the best in Herrscher in Eretz Yisrael? Well, I wasn't going to argue. He says, weil ich nehm kein Geld nicht. Because I don't charge any money. As I was known for Herrshedim, Rabbi Yankiv Lando did not charge money. I think especially Herrshedim that were in Bnei Brak. So therefore he was able to do and paskin the way he wants. And his Herrsher indeed was the best Herrsher in Eretz Yisrael, and I think that went over B'Yerusha. And then, towards the end, I said to him that I came here with a camera, and I want to take a picture of him, so I can bring the Rebbetzin in the picture. And he says, Avada. He was an elderly man. Right away, he changed. He straightened out his hat, and he straightened out his beard, and he looked right into the camera. You saw the beetle of a chosid, because this is a picture for the Rebbetzin. So there was almost the beetle of a child, like it says in Chassidus, the greatest beetle. This is for the Rebbetzin. On another time, when I went to Eretz Yisrael, the Rebbetzin said to me that she has a shlichus for me, what I should do in Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbetzin had an old aunt. The name of the aunt was Tzila Schneerson. She was the wife of Rebbetzin Schneerson. Rebbetzin Schneerson was the brother of the Rebbetzin Acham, the mother of the Rebbetzin Chayamushka. So the Rebbetzin asked me to go and see Tzila Schneerson. And I should tell her, wir trachten wegen ihr, wir sorgen wegen ihr, we are thinking about her, we are worried about her, und sie ist nicht allein, and she's not alone. I must tell you, this was a woman, an elderly woman, who was widowed because the B'tzir Schneerson passed away years before. They didn't have children. She lived alone on the Rehov Rashi in Tel Aviv. And somebody that came specially, that the Rebbetzin sent, and with the message of the Rebbetzin, that she is not alone. We are thinking about her, we are worried about her, and we know the we is the royal we, the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin. We are thinking about her, we are worried about her, and she's not alone. I must tell you, the effect that had was unbelievable. She was so happy that I came, that she offered me 2 Sforim of Rebbetzin, and I took them. She offered me the Rebbetzin Siddur, and she offered me the Rebbetzin Likutei Torah. I must tell you, the Likutei Torah is signed by him, and it looks used. Like he used the Likutei Torah, which means every Shabbos he learned Likutei Torah. Rabbi say, concerning our Parsha, it's the Parsha of Yisrei, the Parsha of Matan Torah. I once heard, I don't know if this comes from the Rebbe, but I think it's a very, very good word. Rashi says, Vayishma Yisrei, Yishma heard. What did he hear? Mashmu Ashoma Ubo. What did he hear? Rashi says, Kriyas Yamsuf u'Melchemes Amalek. So there is a taich that what he Yisrei said, what did he hear? First he heard Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf, the whole world trembled. Osnivalul Alufedim, the whole world trembled by Kriyas Yamsuf. And after that, what happened? Melchemes Amalek. Amalek still went for a fight with Israel, right after Kriyas Yamsuf. So Yisrei said, if there could be a Melchama with Amalek right after Kriyas Yamsuf, then I'm not going to make it on my own. Then I need a Rebbe. And he came to see Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what he heard. Vayishma Yisrei, Rashi says, Kriyas Yamsuf and Melchemes Amalek, that there could be Melchemes Amalek right after Kriyas Yamsuf. Yisrei said, if that's the case, I am not going to make this on my own. I need a Rebbe. And Yisrei came to Moshe Rabbeinu. Before we get to the Parsha, today is also Chof Dalet Shvat. Chof Dalet Shvat is the 24th day of Shvat, and there's a nevuah. There's a nevuah, a nevuah for the day of Chof Dalet Shvat, and the nevuah is in Zechariah. And you're going to ask me, how do you know about the nevuah in Zechariah? Does everybody know Psukim in Zechariah? The answer is that the Rebbe spoke about it a few times. And it's in Zechariah Aleph, and it says clearly, on the 24th day of the 11th month, and that is the month of Shvat. And here, this is the nevuah of Zechariah. The Rebbe spoke about it several times. And he spoke about that this nevuah was that Almighty God told the Malach to tell him Dvorim Tevim, good things, Dvorim Nechumim, words of comfort. Vayemer Elai HaMalach HaDevid, and the Malach who spoke to me said, K'rol Eimer, pronounce these words, Ke'omad Hashem Tzvois, so said the God of hosts, Kinesi Yerushalayim Otziin Kinogdelo, that I am angry about Yerushalayim and about Zion, with a big anger. V'ketzev godel, and with a big anger, ani ketzev, I am angry, al hagoyim ha'sha'ananim, on the apathetic nations. The Rebbe spoke about it, and he says, Mitchepetzach met Eretz Yisrael. There are some who start with Eretz Yisrael, and then there are so many nations around the world that are apathetic who say, well, I'm not going to get involved. It is not for me to get involved. By the way, it sounds exactly what's happening today. That most of the nations are standing on the side, they're not going to get involved. Something happening in Israel, they're not getting involved. What do you mean you're not getting involved? Look what's happening. At least report it the right way. Even the reporting, it doesn't happen correctly. All of a sudden, we're the aggressor. Would you believe this? Rachmana litzlan, there was the Jewish people who got attacked, and now we are the aggressors because we don't let them continue, or because we want our hostages out. So now we're the aggressors. Hagoyim ha'sha'ananim. If this would happen in another country, the whole world would be upside down. But it happened in Eretz Yisrael, Hagoyim ha'sha'ananim. And this is why Almighty God is angry. The Rebbe in this Sikha said about the whole prophecy we're going to see soon with the coming of Mashiach, because this is a Mashiach prophecy. And the Rebbe brings the Gemara, I believe it's in Bava Basra, that there are many prophecies. However, not all prophecies were chronicled and recorded in the Chavdalet Sforim. Only the prophecy Shenitzach Holidays that is important for generations. This prophecy of Chavdalet Shvat of today is important for generation because it's a Mashiach prophecy. What does it say there? K'yomar Hashem, Shavti liYerushalayim berachamim. I have returned to Yerushalayim. Not I will return. I have returned to Yerushalayim berachamim with mercy. Beisi yibonu bo Hashem tzvois. My house will be rebuilt. The Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt. A Mashiach prophecy. Moreover, Eit Kol Leimer, continue the pronunciation, and you should say, K'yomar Hashem tzvois, so said the God of hosts. Eit tefutzena olai mitev. My cities are going to overflow with good. V'nicham Hashem eides Zion, and Almighty God is going to comfort Zion again. Uvachalid b'Yerushalayim, and He will again choose Yerushalayim. In our liturgy of the first night of Tisha B'Av, when we sit on the floor and we cry and we mourn the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, and we read Eichot, that scroll of lamentation, at the very end of the liturgy of the night of first night of Tisha B'Av, we end with this posuk, with this Mashiach posuk. K'yomar Hashem tzvois eit tefutzena olai mitev v'nicham Hashem eides Zion uvochaleit b'Yerushalayim. This is a Mashiach prophecy, and the Rebbe said at the end, this prophecy will realize soon. But meanwhile, we know that Almighty God is angry on all the nations who are standing on the side, and they see what's happening to Eretz Yisrael, and they say, we can't get involved. If it would happen to any other country, the whole world would be involved. But here they're on the side, and they can't even report it properly. They all say the same thing. Very seldom you see someone that's reporting it the way it was. We're not the aggressor. We're the ones who got hit. And we're the ones that hostages were taken. And all we want is our hostages back. Hagoyim ha'sha'ananim. The apathetic nations will sit on the side and say, there's nothing we can do about it. And Almighty God is angry. Hopefully, in Yirtzeh Hashem, we will have good news, the best news, that the hostages are back and there's no more war in Eretz Yisrael. And what we're going to see is Shavti liYerushalayim berachamim. I have returned already, says Almighty God, to Yerushalayim with rachamim. Beisi yibonu bo. I'm going to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. Gesundheit und Fröhlichkeit. Tekef umiyad mamish. Rabbi say concerning the parsha of the Aseres Adibris, we say Vaydavid Elikim es kol hadvarim ha'ele leimer. Leimer means to say. And there's an obvious question. Leimer, to say to whom? Generally, it says, which means Almighty God spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu. And he told them, he should say it to the Jewish people, so that is understood. All the Jewish people are here. Even the future generations were there. So everybody is here by Matan Torah. So what's Lamed? And if you are asking yourself this question, you're in good company. That of the Mazritchel Magid. The Magid asks this question, and he says, Lamed means that we should translate the Aseres Adibres into the Asodam Amorim. And he brings psukim that the Aseres Adibres are made to in the same number as the Asodam Amorim. In other words, we should implement the Aseres Adibres into this world. Not that you say that Almighty God revealed himself in Matan Torah, and he said, and everything remained in the desert. Chas v'sholem. It's in order that we should implement it in our daily activities. And the Rebbe speaks at length about it. And he says that it means that all our maisim, all our deeds, our machshover, our minds, and our speech and our deeds should be permeated with what? The Aseres Adibres. There were a group generations ago of maskilim whose motto was Ye Yehudi bi'ohalecha. That was at best already by them. Be a Jew in your tent, v'odom betzisecha, but be a gentleman on the outside, which means you want to go to shul and you want to daven. No, they would let you, and you want to keep Shabbos in your house. But on the outside, when you walk out, a Yankee azivi ala Yankees, which is exactly in opposition to what Torah tells us, that you should be a Jew on the outside, and on the inside, and on the outside, all the time. And the Rebbe brings the posuk. There's a posuk in Tilim that I was crying. Why? Because there's a taina to me. A whole day, where is your God? Yeah, you're doing very well when you're davening, when you're sitting in shul. Then you're going outside and you're doing business, and you're doing business like everybody else. That's where the problem is. That you are not like everyone else. You are Anechi Hashem Elokecha, your God, the whole time, 24/7 of every single moment of every single day. And that's what the Rebbe says. This is what the Mazritchel Magid is telling us. And this is in concert, Rabbi say, with what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe brings the story with the Baal Shem Tov, that he went up to the habitation of Mashiach, and he asked him, "Hey, Moshe, calls him, well, you know that." And Mashiach said, when your well springs will spread. In other words, they're not going to say stay in the desert at Sinai. If that's the case, we're going to have to wait for a long time for Mashiach to come. When those teachings of Anechi Hashem Elokecha, the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, and the teaching of Torah and Chassidus will reach the outside world and every part of the outside world. And the Rebbe explains, if you're talking about a city, let's say, and you have reached 99% of the city, but you did not reach 1%, and you are very happy because you have accomplished, but nevertheless you haven't accomplished everything. Because there's still 1% that you haven't accomplished. So did you accomplish the chutza, the outside? You didn't cover the entire outside, because there's one part of the outside that remained uncovered. So what the Rebbe wants, and he wants to bring Mashiach now. And how is that? All over. And talking about the Rebbetzin, and talking about the Noshim Tzidkonius, and the Rebbe stresses constantly that B'schus of the Noshim Tzidkonius in Mitzrayim, we went out of Mitzrayim, and it's going to be in the merit of the Noshim Tzidkonius of our generation, and the Rebbe brings from Kisvei Arizal that they are our incarnation of the Noshim Tzidkonius of Yitzias Mitzrayim. So just like the Noshim Tzidkonius by Yitzias Mitzrayim, it was in their merit that we went out of Mitzrayim, Now, in the floor is the Pasuk in Micha, that we're going to see miracles, even as we saw the miracles when we went out of Mitzrayim. So just like we went out of Mitzrayim in the schus of Noshim Tzidkonius, so now we're going to go out of Mitzrayim, of this Golus Begula, ho Amitis V'Yashlimo, b'schus of the Noshim Tzidkonius, who are having a convention this week, and in their schus, we'll go out in Yom Hashem, of Golus, Gesundheit und Freilichkeit, uva Golo di dan, uva Simcha uvtuv livov, uva Tiva nile ve'yanigla, ulamata me'asodot fochim, uva Chesed, uva Rachamim, v'teikef, umiyad, mamesh.